Men, these are the top mistakes I see you making in the divorce process. A huge mistake that can cost you so much time, money, and energy is letting your anger be in the driver's seat. Look, so she may have done you wrong. There may have been some stuff that went down in that marriage that hurts and that sucks, and you are ready to get even. The worst thing you can do is let anger take the driver's seat and take this car down a path you don't want to go to. Because with time, and I know it's hard and I know it hurts, but your anger will subside. And the quicker you can make that happen, the better, faster, and cheaper your divorce is going to go. Another mistake I see men making all the time in the divorce is bringing this huge chip on their shoulder to the entire process. And what I mean is assuming the entire system is out to get you. There was a recent Forbes article that said only 5.8% of children end up with their moms exclusively. Look, that's just not the way it is anymore. And in fact, legally, it can't be that way. Now, I'm realistic, and I know if you're in some small podunk county in Texas, it may be a little different for you. But as a general rule, the court is not out to get you. And in fact, some courts, it swings a little bit the other way. A good, upstanding dad with a good job who cares about his family and keeps a level head may even have a bit of a leg up. So let's take the chip off your shoulder so you can move forward with ease and not bringing that sour attitude to the whole thing. A huge mistake that men make is messing around with the money in a divorce. You may think, hey, I earned this money. This is my money. I can do with it whatever I want. The thing is, in Texas, we have community property. If you earned it during the marriage, it's both of y'all's. You're going to shoot your own self in the foot if you start hiding that money, putting it where she can't get it, leave her where she can't pay bills or buy the kids' school clothes. You will eat those actions as such a bitter pill in the divorce process. And it's going to cost you more money because eventually she's going to get access to the money because it's half hers. So let's not do that. Let's let cooler heads prevail and be on the up and up about the money. It will benefit you and get you more money in the long run. The number one mistake that I see men making in the divorce process is using divorce to get even. I hate to break it to you guys. This divorce is not going to get you even. It's going to cost you a ton of money and make this take forever. It may make your kids hate you and everybody think you're a jerk, but getting even is not going to happen. And in fact, getting even can be counterproductive. If you try to use the legal process to intimidate or get your way or scare her, oftentimes a judge can see right through that and they will end up popping you for it and taking more of your money, taking away time with your kids. So don't let that emotion come through and take the day. Let cooler heads prevail. Let's be reasonable. You can take that anger out at the gym or in some new hobby or go to one of those, there's like the rooms where you break stuff. Go there and do that. But let's not use the divorce process or it will shoot your own self in the foot. The expression that comes to mind is cut your nose to spite your face. One of the biggest myths I hear about divorce is that the moms always get the kids. That's not true. I'm living proof. When I first got divorced, my kids didn't live with me primarily. And I'm a good mom. So of course it doesn't work that way. It didn't work that way for me. It's literally in the Constitution. It's called the Equal Protection Clause. Men and women have to be treated the same before the eyes of the law. And you may think, well, that's just not even how it is. Moms always get the kids. That's what you've heard, but that's literally not how it works. I mean, it's really about who's the primary parent, who does pick up and drop off, who arranges play dates, who takes them to the doctor, who does the school call whenever they're sick. That's how the court decides who has the kids primarily. So I'm going to let you ask yourself, if a court was to ask that about you and your life as a dad, what would they say? Who's the primary parent in your house? If all of those activities are being done by your wife, then that makes sense that she would be labeled the primary parent. And if you want that to be you, do those things. So that brings up the question, what is a primary parent versus sole custody versus full custody? I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions in all of divorce law is what does it mean to have the kids most of the time and do I get child support? There's all kinds of different names floating out there. The most common is a mom who comes in and says, I want to have sole custody. Or a dad who comes in and says, I want to have joint custody. I'll tell you what they're really meaning. I think at least what's possible in Texas. Probably they saw that on a movie and that's why they have those terms. But as we all kind of know, unfortunately, real life isn't exactly like the movies. So in Texas, there's this concept of joint managing conservatorship. So probably most people you know have joint custody in that they have equal rights to make decisions about education, school, and medical for the kids. You probably will get joint custody. That's the most likely outcome. In fact, it's presumed, that means assumed, that joint managing conservatorship is in the best interest of the children. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Probably you're going to be JMCs. Joint managing conservators. The question you're asking is a little bit more about possession and how that works. So in the word primary, it's crazy, but all they're really talking about in Texas is which parent has the right to determine the primary residence of the children. That's where the word primary comes from. That's it. Now, with that designation comes some benefits and responsibilities. The benefit being that the other person pays the primary parent child support. The other person pays and covers the kid's health insurance. That's why people fight over this primary designation. Now, the Office of the Attorney General, the OAG, those people who get the child support out of your paycheck, they call people the custodial parent and the non-custodial parent. And I hate those terms. Like, what does that even mean? I'm the custodial parent. I'm a non-custodial parent. It just is what it is. But generally speaking, the primary parent will be the custodial parent, and the person who's not the primary parent will be the non-custodial parent. And so all that means is you get to say where the kids live within a certain geographic restriction if you're the primary parent. And if you're not the primary parent, you pay child support and health insurance. Now, what possession schedule these people have varies in every situation. There's the expanded standard possession order, which is in the Texas Family Code, or whatever the parties can agree to in a mediation as a general rule. There's one other category that people talk about, and that would be full and sole custody. What they mean is, I want to make all of them decisions about my kids that can be made, and he gets to see the kids whenever I want. Like women come in saying this. And I'm like, okay, probably that's not going to happen, sis. Like, has he beat you or the kids up lately? Huge, horrible. It's like drug, sex, and rock and roll. Like, is he have horrible drug problems? None of that. You're probably not getting sole custody, which you might call full custody. Because to have sole, it undoes this joint managing conservatorship, the JMC we talked about. It undoes the presumption. And that's hard because remember the assumption part. And it gives you this other scheme where one parent, this primary parent, makes all of the important decisions about medical, education, school, things like that. And they have pretty much all of the visitation and access and time with the kids, subject to some pretty strict parameters, usually for who's called the possessory parent. And that's where they'd have like supervised visits, or they have to go to a special place to have their visits, or they only do them with the counselor or something. So the sole custody with the possessory custody scheme is really pretty uncommon and usually doesn't arise unless there's some pretty, extreme is the wrong word, but like it's not exactly the wrong word, like pretty intense circumstances to give you those variations. But more than likely, if you're getting divorced in Texas, y'all are both pretty good, decent people, decent parents. One of y'all is going to be the primary parent. One of y'all is going to be not the primary parent, and you're going to be joint managing conservators.